Welcome to Experts Unleashed, a podcast that aims to uncover how professionals and entrepreneurs transform their experience into income while making a positive impact in the world. I'm your host, Joel Irway, and over the past 4 years, I've helped entrepreneurs develop and launch their expert-based businesses to grow past 6 and 7 figures per year. Now, a professional expert serves their community through paid training, education, or service, and this podcast will show you how to design and execute your plan to become a 6 or 7 figure expert without a big team. So, let's get started. What's going on, experts? It's Joel Irway here with another episode of Experts Unleashed, and today you're in for a very special episode. I just got off my interview with Dr. Lizette. Now, Dr. Lizette is an award-winning psychology expert for high-achieving career women. She helps ambitious women make big, bold moves, have better balance in business and life, and step up with confidence in their zone of brilliance. What was fascinating about this interview when I talked to Dr. Lizette was how she was able to focus in on what her specific expertise was, and it relates to psychology, and more specifically, it relates to helping women grow their business. Now, I'm always fascinated when I talk to people who specialize and who study psychology because it is my primary interest in what I do in the webinar agency. So we had a lot of things to talk about in this episode. And so if you are any sort of curious about the world of psychology and creating language that attracts new customers, you're going to learn how Dr. Lizette is able to do this as her expertise and her primary business. So without further ado, let's jump into today's episode. Dr. Lizette, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much. It's a pleasure to be here with you.
Well, I am pumped. I love connecting with other experts and other entrepreneurs, and I'm very excited to jump into your journey. I know you're in the career world, the career development world, which is actually where I started my entrepreneurial journey. So give us an overview of what it is that you do, what is your expertise, and talk a little bit about your business.
Yeah, definitely. So my area marries the strategy of career, business, and psychology. So I really help high-performing women who feel like they've reached a plateau in their business, figure out what's next and make it happen. A lot of times they're having a hard time making a decision, getting in their own way because they feel overwhelmed by all the possibilities. A lot of times they have a lot of skills and aren't sure which one to move forward with next. So I basically help them decide what they want to do, whether that's go get it, pivot, or quit it.
So your customers, are they entrepreneurial or are they currently employed? Who is it that your ideal customer is?
Yeah, they're actually both. So women who are in corporate and are thinking about quitting, those who have a side business and are trying to decide if they want to move forward full time, or those who have said, you know what, I've had enough. I'm ready to go full force from employee to entrepreneur.
Okay, so everyone's at least making some sort of transition to entrepreneurship, right?
Or they're wanting to move up the ladder in their career. So
okay, all right.
Some of them have a side gig. Some of them want that side gig to become their full-time business. And others are, you know what, right now, that's not for me. So they just want to move up the ladder in their career in corporate.
That's awesome. So
basically the theme is you feel like you've reached a plateau, you've got a lot more that you want to be doing, and you're not sure what are the possibilities and how to make it happen.
So how did you become the expert? Like, what is it that you, like, okay, that's who you serve and that's what they want. Tell us a little bit about how you help them get that goal.
Yes. So we really start with clarity. Oh my gosh, that is like so important. You have to be really clear on what you want and why you want it. Because let's face it, this journey is not for the faint of heart. It is not simple. So when you start to encounter those stumbling blocks, those mindset blocks, those barriers, you have to be clear on why you're doing this in the first place so that you can continue to move forward in spite of the frustration you experience and wanting to just give up. So being really crystal clear on why you want it in the first place will help you keep going with the consistency, with the resiliency. So that's the first step, clarity. The second step is strategy. Now that you know what you want, what are the strategic steps? What's the action plan we need to put in place to make it happen? And then the last part and the most important part is psychology. Having that strong mentality of determination, of resilience, of addressing any money blocks that you may be having that's causing you to undercharge, or maybe you have visibility issues and you're afraid of putting yourself out there. Well, you know what? You may be amazing in what you do, but if nobody knows about you, you might as well not exist. And a lot of times people think that because they're not getting the response that they expect, they equate that with their sense of worth or the value that they bring. And that's not right. Maybe you're not clear on who you're talking to, and there's a mismatch between what you bring to the table and who is meant to receive it. Maybe your strategy is off. Maybe you're getting confused. There's so many suggestions out there, so many different strategies. And if you're dabbling a little bit in all of these, well, obviously you're not going to get very far. So all this can really make you feel like maybe I'm just not cut out for this, and create a lot of self-doubt and imposter syndrome. And so that's what we work with: clarity, strategy, and the psychology.
I love it. So tell me a little bit about clarity. Like, I can imagine that, like, if somebody is really struggling and kind of going all over the place, like, you're big on psychology. Like, I mean, it's clear you know what you're talking about. Can you explain to me, like, why is clarity so important? Like, what makes clarity actually work? Like, in our mind, like, why is clarity so important when we have a hurdle?
Because if you're not clear as to why you are doing what you're doing, why you're putting in those hours, why you are investing in those multiple 5-figure coaching programs, right? Why you are giving up maybe a few nights out in order to bust your butt to make this work. If you're not clear on that and you don't see that big vision picture, then that's going to make you feel like, you know what? I don't want to do this anymore. This is too much. So that desire has to be so crystal clear. I'm talking about, you have to feel it. You have to smell it. You have to hear it. Is it you at the beach on your laptop? Is it you being received at the airport for some speaking engagement where hundreds of people are going to receive you, and you're at a 5-star hotel with beautiful roses waiting for you? You've got to involve all the senses and create a picture as real as possible so that your brain can feel like it's a reality and actually start to make it happen for you.
So, when somebody's got this clear picture, right? Like, in my mind, like, is there something though, like, internally that causes this to actually work, like clarity work? Because, like, I've heard this before, like getting clear on like your ultimate goal, but like, I'm trying to wonder if there's actual science behind it, like like there's biology behind it. Like, I'm asking somebody who's way smarter than I am, so I'm trying to like I'm also an engineer at heart, so I kind of like the intricate details. If maybe there aren't, maybe it's just this magical thing of clarity is the solution. But, like, is there any sort of scientific reasoning of why clarity is so important to get over, like, when you have these self-doubt, hurdles that you have to overcome?
Yeah, see, and our mind can't distinguish between reality and imagination when it feels real. And so you want to get in that space as much as possible.
Mm.
What would you be wearing? How would you be speaking? What would you be doing? How much would you be making? Who would you be speaking with? That kind of thing. It has to become as real as possible.
Yeah. That's fascinating. So your mind can't distinguish reality versus imagination. I've never heard that before. That's fascinating.
Yeah.
So you're kind of tricking your mind into making this actually work, right?
Yeah, in a sense.
Well, not tricking your mind, but future pacing, right? And seeing what it's actually, what you actually want to become. Fascinating. So I'm looking at your books behind you, and you've got a ton of books stacked behind there. We've got the positivity of the books that are standing behind your shelf. What would you point to as your favorite one?
I would say it's Mindset.
Carol
Dweck.
Dweck. Okay, cool. So why is it mindset?
Because mindset, that's what it comes down to. Nobody really talks about that. They're just, I want to start a business. I want to make money. But then once you start hitting those roadblocks, you realize it's not because you don't have the skills. It's not because you don't have something amazing to offer. It's because you are getting in your own way, because maybe you're overthinking it. Maybe you're comparing yourself. And I always tell people, don't compare your chapter 1 with somebody's chapter 10. Social media it really makes it hard for us to be gentle with ourselves, because what we see out there is we have a front stage view to someone's performance. We don't have a backstage pass to everything they've had to do to get to where they are and everything that they're going through, all the rejections, all the hurdles that they've had to overcome. So you don't see that. You think it doesn't happen. You think you're the only one. Well, you're not. And that thinking is going to keep you from moving forward and succeeding as much as you could.
That was really powerful. Don't compare your chapter 1 to somebody else's chapter 10, right? I mean, I'll admit I fall victim to that. And
of course, all of us do. I do too.
Yep, I'm always comparing myself to somebody else. Like, oh, I see this bragging post on social media. I want that. And it's like I have to convince myself to stay in my lane, stay productive, and keep working towards my goal. I love that. I love that phrase. Don't compare chapter 1 to somebody else's chapter 10.
Yeah. Like Gary Vaynerchuk is really a good example of that. Everybody thinks he became an overnight celebrity, but if you've seen that video of all of his wine library, wine TV, YouTube videos, like he was on it for a long time. And so.
Yeah, I know exactly what video you're talking about. It's like the recap of he
yeah.
did it was like over 1,000 or maybe even 2,000, right? Of daily videos. It was like, yep, I did it every single day. And so, yeah, that was a really powerful video. So let's rewind a little bit, right? Because I want to know how you got to where you are today, because this is a pretty interesting field of, career and psychology. Have you always wanted to do this? Has this always been your clear vision, or, maybe entrepreneurship wasn't what you always wanted to do? But tell me about the genesis of how you got to where you are today.
Yeah. Okay. So let me tell you a little bit about my background.
Yep.
I am a child of Mexican immigrant parents who didn't even attend high school. So I always knew that education was the key to be able to do something with my life. And my parents ingrained it in me. And they served as an example of what lack of education oftentimes what ends up happening. And so my dad would always tell me, don't work for anybody else, work for yourself. And, it wasn't until I got older that I started to realize that the importance of that. Psychology was always something that I was interested in. I mean, I'm always thinking about human behavior. Like, why is it that two people can go through the same exact thing, but have completely opposite results? Right. And so that really fascinated me. I wanted to understand why people do what they do. And the career part, I've got my own background, my family background that influenced that. But I was also wanting to understand how people decide to spend a majority of their life doing, right? Because we spend a third of our life in our career, in our business, in our zone of genius, right? And so I wanted to understand how people make those decisions, because it could be really difficult to decide what to focus on. Because there's so many options, especially if you're someone with a variety of skills and interests and passions. And then you have to match that with what the market is willing to pay you for. So there's a lot of decision making that comes with that. And I really love to understand how people decide what to do as a business, and how they're able to create a success mentality to help them keep striving, keep on going and moving up the ladder and become just a bigger, better version of themselves.
So you said something that was really interesting. You said you enjoy, and maybe I'm getting this a little bit, I want to make sure I get this right, but you said you enjoy learning how people decide what it is they want to do for their business.
Yes, I love helping people decide that. And the thing is, a lot of times you have to know what you want this business to do for you. And if it's to help you make more money, then fine. Just be honest with yourself, and that's okay. And I think a lot of times people feel bad about that. And that messes with all your mindset. And if you want to make an impact through your business because you want to be able to do what you want, when you want it, with who you want it, and how you want it, nobody else telling you what to do, work the hours you want, all that stuff, then that's fine too. And if it's both, great. You want to make an impact, have your cake and eat it too, great. But you just have to know what that is and how do we create a business and life that allows you to live your life your way.
Awesome. When did you discover that this was really what you wanted to do? Like this was your passion, like that you liked helping other people figure out their own business, their own passions. When did you discover that? Like when did you know without a shadow of a doubt, like this is what you were going to be doing?
Yes. So I am also a psychology professor. So I research this stuff and I teach this stuff to doctoral students and I apply it with them. And so I decided, I'm like, you know what? I think I'm always thinking about taking my career to the next level. And so I'm like, the next logical step is to apply this to the general population. I've been a professor for 9 years. And so I wanted to get out of that bubble and do something with my skill set that can help other people, especially women.
Mm-hmm.
So that's where that came from. I didn't just want to teach about it. I didn't just want to publish about it and keep it in the academic bubble. I wanted to take those skills and apply it in the real world.
So can you tell me about the first time that you had a client that you actually worked with outside of these doctoral students? Like what was, and like obviously don't reveal names, but like tell me about the experience when like, I always like hearing about like the first success story because normally that lights such a fire in experts who work with other people and you help somebody else get a transformation that is incredible. Like, do you remember your first time helping somebody else in like outside of the doctoral community?
Absolutely. It's kind of like your first kiss. You never forget it, right? Yes. So I remember this person was smart and had a strong skill set and an advanced degree, but they weren't able to match their message with their target audience. They were focused on the features. They were focused on how long we're going to work together and how we're going to work together. They weren't really focused on making that emotional connection and helping understand what is their pain and what would they rather gain. So once we figured out how to make that fit, so understanding buyer psychology, understanding what they want, why they want it, and triggering urgency and scarcity, not in a sleazy, slimy way, fake urgency, I hate that, but like truly helping them realize, hey, this is where I'm at. I don't like it. It sucks. I need you to help me. And you are the best one. So not only I have a problem and I need it fixed by you. So helping us focus on that rather than describing the like I compare it to like if you have cancer and you're about to go, you're looking for someone to have surgery and remove the cancer. You don't want to go and have a conversation with someone about their machine. You want to talk about the transformation, the results.
Yeah, getting it removed or getting it whatever.
Exactly. Yeah. So nobody cares about your method. They just care about the transformation.
I love that. So did you ever take any marketing courses throughout your education?
Never. I never felt like I had a business bone in my body.
Mm-hmm.
So
this is exactly where I'm going. Like, cause I can totally relate because that's pretty much what I do at the webinar agency is I help them craft their message and create offers that people actually want. And I never took any business classes either. So when did you realize you had a gift for that? I mean, because like you had a gift for something completely unrelated that you ever even studied. I mean, like it is psychology, but like you didn't take any business classes, right? No marketing courses.
Yeah. And see, the thing is that I help people connect with their ideal audience by connecting with their heart and their mind. Mm-hmm. So I help them get inside their ideal client's mind so that they can see them as the go-to pro. I don't help with like Facebook ads. I can help you make it catchy content, but that appeals to the customer, but I'm not going to help you set up the logistics. So That's not my thing. Outsource it. So I stay in my lane and in my zone of genius. My thing is not to help you create the infrastructure of your business. It's my job is to help you attract your clients and make you get known as the obvious choice in the marketplace, and also help you get out of your own way.
Cool. So tell me about that first client. I don't know if we ever got to talk about that. We got a little sidetracked.
Yeah. I was telling you about how she was focused on the features.
Oh, right. That's right.
Yeah. Rather than the transformation.
So did you help her get new clients or? Yeah.
Yes, definitely. Once we fixed that, she was able to get her messaging out there and trigger the pain points where they were at now in the moment, and focusing on people who were ready to make change. There's a whole model of change in psychology, and you want to target people who are like, I recognize I have a problem and I'm ready to do something about it. Not, maybe next year, or it's not that bad. Because then you're going to end up wasting your time and getting on sales calls with these people. And then you're going to think that you are no good. And then, it's not good. So got to get them where they're ready to do something about it.
Yep. So what's your process? Like, how do you help people uncover that core message? Like, I can totally relate because it's kind of what I do with all my clients. How are you able to extract that from them and help them get a clear message?
Yes. So if we're focusing on what is it that the client needs, what is the problem that they're coming with, you have to really understand it very, very deeply. So you have to understand, what are their thoughts about it? What kind of thoughts do they have about it? How do they feel about it? And then the behaviors that it causes them to do or not do. So for example, if you are a health coach, the thoughts that they probably have are, I don't want to wake up another day trying to figure out what I'm going to wear today and go through my closet and not find anything that fits. How do they feel? Well, maybe they feel unattractive. Maybe they feel insecure. What does it make them do? Well, maybe it makes them miss out on pictures with their family, and they're not going to have those memories with them. What does it make them do? It makes them not show up on live streams. So you got to target all those three things: the thoughts, the feelings, and the behaviors, and paint that picture for them.
Yeah, it makes total sense. I mean, that's ultimately why people buy, right? It's because they want to remove a pain, or they want to get some sort of pleasure. And you have to be able to extract that and communicate it to your target audience. How did you find your first client? Like, this area of expertise, when you started working with professionals, right? How did this first one come about? Because now you're working as, like, you're teaching, you're a professor, and then you make this other shift to where you're helping other people find their message. Like, how did that happen?
Well, I'm a psychologist as well. I have a small private practice as a psychologist. And for that, I put an ad out on a psychologist website. And then through that, I started getting clients, and then they gave me referrals, because I would help them with not only career and life stuff, a whole bunch of different things. As a psychologist, I'm a generalist. And so word of mouth is how I got the first client. And that's the thing, like, people go to those they know, like, and trust, but also those who know, like, and trust you.
Yep. So people were calling you in, and that's how you landed your first client. And so then essentially all other clients are mostly word of mouth, or are you still doing advertising?
No, I've switched to speaking. So doing local speaking engagements, inviting them at the end to sign up and have a call with me. I've also done webinars.
Yep.
And live streams.
Cool.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, I love this story. Like, I love especially people who have psychology background, because, like, if I had another life that maybe I'll become a different profession, I think it's going to be something in the world of psychology. Like, I remember Malcolm Gladwell was like the first book that I picked up in Barnes and Noble. It was Blink. And this is like 10 or 12 years ago, which led me down this path of entrepreneurship. And I remember reading that book and just thinking, like, oh man, I totally get this. Right. And it's all around psychology. This marketing world is all around psychology. So I think it's fascinating. And I love that you focus on helping other women in career development, or, in their own business. And so fascinating stuff. So is there anything that we left out like in this journey? I mean, of how you've developed into this expert that you are in your business?
I think it's just being hungry for more and to do more with what I've got with my zone of genius. And I encourage everyone to do that too. Figure out what you love, what you're good at, and what people would love to have from you and how they want to receive that. And then how you're going to position yourself as indispensable, incomparable, irreplaceable, and just show up even when it gets tough.
Mm-hmm.
Get clear on what you're trying to do, figure out a strategy to make it happen, and then don't get in your own way.
You mentioned zone of genius. Where did that come from? Is that something you created?
No, I have heard it. I don't remember who came up with it. I want to say The Big Leap, but I may be wrong. I've read so many books. I get things mixed up all the time. So it's really just focusing on what comes natural to you. A lot of times people think that in order for you to do amazing work, it has to be hard.
Mm-hmm.
And the thing is, it's hard, but not for you,
mm-hmm.
because that's your zone of genius.
Yeah.
And it's easy for you to overlook as something that's of value because it comes easy to you.
Yeah. You mentioned something earlier, how which created a big demand for what you do and how you help people. You said 1/3 of our lives are spent in your zone of genius, which to me, it's like, oh yeah, like, we're spending over 1/3 of our life like working, like we better make the most of it. Like, obviously you've got your message dialed in, because like to me, like that made perfect sense, and it was like helped create the desire for like wanting to learn more and like really focus on what my zone of genius was. But anyway, I love that. So. Well, Dr. Lizette, I had a blast. I've enjoyed our conversation. We went through the whole journey of what you're doing now and how you developed this. And I love the fact that you've got a psychology background and career development. Where can people connect with you? Where can they find you?
Yeah, so you can go to my website, it's drlizette.com, or you can just find me on social media under the same name.
Awesome. So that's drlizette.com. That's Lizette. Is that correct?
Yep, DRLIZETTE.
Awesome. And so for those of you listening right now, please go connect with Dr. Lizette. Let her know that you heard her on the Experts Unleashed podcast. I've had a blast today. I know you've shared a lot of fascinating knowledge about the background of psychology and how it applies to how it really applies to everyone who's trying to grow their business. And I love the zone of genius. And clearly it's important that we have to get this taken care of, because we spend so much of our life doing this, and it's an integral, critical component. And so go connect with Dr. Lizette. Let her know that you heard her on Experts Unleashed, and we'll see you all on the next episode. Take care.
Thanks so much for listening. We hope you enjoyed today's episode, and we look forward to giving you the next one. Now, if you want additional trainings and content outside of the podcast, I release exclusive video trainings on my Experts Unleashed YouTube channel. And if you'd like to come hang out with thousands of other fellow experts, join our Facebook group community where we do hangouts and webinars to help support you in your journey. Finally, if you'd like my personal help to develop, launch, or scale your business, contact me directly for private consulting opportunities to see if any spots are available. And you can find all of the information above at expertsunleashed.com.